The JaxVax Hoover Senior is very nearly done. We just got a little bit more to reassemble and we can see how it works and what it looks like now. Yes, hello my vacuum cleaner chums, how are you today? This reconditioned old Hoover has been reconditioned again and is almost ready for me to show you how it came out, but we'll pop that to one side. We have the bag to put together. I have two cable ties here because we need two cable ties. We need to obviously put an inner bag in, so we bring you down a bit and we'll fit the bag to the bellows. Because as this is a pattern cloth bag, and actually the more I look at this and looked at it while I was washing it, the more it is actually quite nice to see one in this good condition. Normally these are trashed because these were sold cheaply compared to the cost of a new machine. They obviously weren't looked after as well as a new machine would have been, so it is quite rare to see one in this condition. Certainly when you see these bags on £10 eBay specials nowadays, the logo's gone, they've got holes in, they're torn. It's not, it's odd to think as a collector who prides on nice minty machines. I can't feed my cable tie-in. Why can't I feed my cable tie-in? That, to see it looking so good. So we'll put the cable tie in. He says not being able to put the cable tie in. Oh my goodness. Oh, nearly there. Because I've got to pull the bag around. There we go. Oh. Boop, there it is. Marvellous. There we go. All we have to do, hang on, let me do this and come back, because this is a tad more tricky than I first thought it might be. Gosh, there we go. Right. And then very simply, you have to make sure that obviously this is at the right angle. You can see my little fix for the worn seal. I couldn't find anything to go back in there, so a nice drop of fairly level sealant. By the time that's clamped onto the machine, you will never know. Now obviously the bag has to be this way round with this at the front and the zip at the back. That is the back of the bellows, or the flange. It's really just a case of doing the zippy tie up nice and tight, so the bag goes on there. And if I get my trusty scissors and cut the tail of the cable tie off, in fact we could even, in fact that's pretty much hidden because the bag squeezed itself in. It's done, and now we have a flanged up bag, so we can cut off our SIBO bag like so, and with that cut off, pop it onto the flange. It's got its belt. In fact, it's an original 119 I'll try to read it as well, 1224334 blah 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 super belt. So there's a bit of a nice original belt there, obviously not for this machine, but we shall leave it on there because it belongs on this vacuum. But as you know, I don't bother. I mean, you could just got to roll it, but because it then pushes all the bag up, I don't bother, because you've got to take it off when the bag's full, and that'll be, my cable tie isn't big enough. Yeah, well, we will use this belt. Let's do it properly. I'll show you how, because this is the way to do it. Oh, there we go, that wasn't too bad. Let's pull the bag down a bit so there's a bit of slack. There we go. One HEPA filtration Hoover Senior, so we can do the bag up, which will bring the machine itself back over. Fit the dust bag flange. Put the bag onto the upper cord hook, like so. And there she is, all ready for action. And this means that I can show you around a bit more, because when we unboxed it, I will be honest, I did dismiss it slightly. You don't know who this belongs to, I do, so you've got to you've got to bear with me a little bit here, because I don't want to give his or her identity away. But this is more rarer than you might think, because it is made by a company called JaxVax. JaxVax was a London-based reconditioner owned by a chap called Jack Allen. And he was doing this all through the 70s and 80s, ceased trading in the early 90s, and there's a lot of collectors. It's not just JaxVax, there's Summit, V&N Vax, probably loads of little independents who would buy these in bulk, buy scrap old Hoovers in bulk and rebuild them, and you get them on market stalls, you get them in independent vacuum shop. Obviously there was no eBay then, so they would be sold around, and many a collector, probably ones slightly older than me, about my age, sort of in the mid 80s to early 90s, would see these and juniors all lined up, all looking pristine in however they were refurbished, and they were sold for not a lot of money. In fact, a little anecdote I heard from an ex-Hoover shop owner was that Hoover themselves, when the Turbo Power came out, they started buying the trade-ins for £5–10 a machine and destroying them, so they didn't turn into these and get sold rather than the customer buying a brand new Turbo Power. So these are, you see them now and again on eBay, and they're normally trashed. Cannot lie, they are normally utterly destroyed. This isn't. This is actually quite nice. I don't know what colour it was originally. The only bit of originality on the thing, if you look where the paint's chipped off of the pedal, it was a red pedal, they were all red. It has the 2-position height control, so if I lower the handle a bit, in fact this side, hang on, it's an earlier Senior, because it has the 2-position control. When you push down, hear that? It clicks itself down. When I was putting this together, this caused me some confusion because it has a 4-height position hood. Obviously the hood's the same. Underneath you can see that all that does is have a clip that goes over the wheel, and when you release it, the wheel pops up. Pop the wheels down, it clips down. So it's an earlier Senior, so it would be a 652A. And that's it. The hood has been painted in this hammerite. The top bearing has been painted in this hammerite, as has the brush roll. Everything else has been resprayed. I managed to get the sticker reproduced and printed out, so it is now rebuilt by JaxVax rather than that really faded one stuck onto a painted Hoover handle, which is actually sellotaped under this hood. So that stuff still exists, but it's sellotaped under there at the minute. It's got pattern carbon brushes, pattern bag, pattern cable, pattern brush strips. Probably it has pattern bearings because the fan case bearing is held in with, there were kits you could get, little tiny nuts and bolts. I've got a load. And it's been really thoroughly done. Hats off to them, they painted the handle cover as well, I forgot to mention. So it is really well done. It is a piece of history in itself. Yes, you would not go out and hunt one of these down ever. There's far too many original ones out there to bother with that. But the fact that this exists, these would have been, if you pay £40 for this in the 80s, you would expect a few years out of it, then you would just throw it away. The fact that this exists, and apart from, there's a couple of little chips on the hood. I think it's been sprayed very well rather than powder coated. apart from that, it is really quite good in terms of how it looks. If we flip it over, obviously you've seen all this already. The wheels have hardly any wear on them, so it hasn't seen much use since it was done. It's got pattern wheels. There you go. It was a 652A because it's stamped on the hood. JaxVax would have put the voltage sticker on there. And yeah, basically it is a product of its time. Like myself and many other people refurbished Dysons, you know, strip them right. You could get 50 DC07s and just componentise the lot and build them back up again, probably matching the colours a little bit, and flog them on. The concept hasn't changed. Obviously you wouldn't paint one, but with these you had to, because these can look really, really scruffy and terrible if you don't. And yeah, it is very interesting to see the thorough job that somebody has put into this. I imagine there would have been a big production line of them. Again, they would just be componentised on arrival, any broken parts thrown away and replaced with spares from other broken machines. And I imagine it could be quite lucrative, especially if you actually sold quite a lot of them. But yeah, so there is today's history lesson. You'll stop being bored now. You can come back because we're going to turn it on and I'll show you how it works now. Because despite its initial outwardly quite good appearance, it was filthy. Absolutely filthy. That perished flange seal hadn't done it any favours at all, so the whole underneath was covered in crud. The brush roll bearing, one was completely seized, neither were very good. The motor bearings had sprayed all their oil out. The whole thing, it was a bit of a tatty mess. It obviously cosmetically is good. Mechanically, it wasn't perfect. I now don't know if it's going to turn on because I pushed the switch. So I'm just going to plug it in and it may or may not fire into life. It won't. Fair enough. Let's hope it does now. When we recline the switch, I think actually I want it in that position. Nice, deep, senior track mark, just as one should be. It's moving my carpet. It's like pulling it back. The headlight is an original bulb, dated from the 70s. It runs like a sewing machine. I can also hear it vibrate the entire floor. As I shall now try and demonstrate with these Cheerios, we're not putting sand through it. It is done now. I don't like putting sand through them when they're done. But a couple of Cheerios should be alright. Our little secret. Again, this carpet is a bit of a double-edged sword. You can see the track marks really well, but it doesn't half dampen the vibrations from the brush roll. Okay, they're on shot still. This carpet, however, should be slightly different. I think I need to change the height of the machine. Really strong track marks, distinctive Hoover growl. These really were utter powerhouses. Oh, well, I would say compared to the Junior, but as well as the Junior, because as we well know, Juniors are just as good as well. And that's about it really, it's done. Looking really smart. And yeah, it is a product of its time. I'm still one of those people that if I saw one of these like this at the car boot, it would probably end up being broken for spares. You know, originality all the way, but it is a product of its time. The very fact that this exists in this superb condition, it could have been done last week. Now, this could have rolled off the JaxVax production line in London, wherever they were. I've not found any information on them at all, I'll be honest. I have had a very, very in-depth Google. The owner told me all the information that I know at the minute. I was reading his email when I was telling you just now. Yeah. It's nice to have had it, I'll be honest, and it's done now. It's all ready to go back into the collection where it came from. And since that's the end of this video, I'm ready to pack up and go back to, well, get this boxed up and posted back to the owner. So there we go, a little bit of history, something a bit different. Don't see many, you know, pattern rebuilt machines on my channel. Normally I seem to get original ones all the time, but we have today. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you soon. Bye bye.